Thanks, Nadine. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this edition of the Primetime News on Equinox Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Hundreds of women internally displaced by the Anglophone crisis lament over the precarious conditions in which they are living and the devastating and deadly consequences of the deepening Anglophone crisis. They are crying out loud and calling on the two parties involved in the crisis, notably the government and the pro-independence fighters, to hear their cry. They were speaking to a Northwest correspondent, Stella, and you hear the details in this newscast. Right, Nadine, continues gun battles between pro-independence fighters and the military, and of course killings, burning down of houses and entire villages, abductions inflict severe and untold suffering on women in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Hundreds of thousands of them have been forced out of their homes and are now internally displaced persons living in very difficult conditions. Some of them spoke to a Northwest correspondent, Stella, and she compiled this report.
Most of these women have not only lost their husbands and sons to the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, but have equally lost their homes and businesses. The women who are being displaced to other towns and cities can hardly hide their emotions when recounting their ordeals.
When the military, when they come into the villages, there's running, there's shooting, burning, beating, raping, everything. So with my condition, I could not run to the mountain like others. My small shop was razed. So I happened to manage to find myself here. So everybody, they are around, everybody's in the bush, everybody is right in the bush. So I just imagine myself, if I was in the village, I would not be alive by now.
Thousands have continued to flee their homes as clashes intensify between government forces and the Ambazonian fighters. Surviving for now is the only worry of the displaced persons.
It's not easy. My name is Beck. I beg from one person. As you can see this occasion, what do you think must have brought me here? To have a cup of rice, a cube of Maggi to take home for my family. In
order to empower some of the displaced women, Change Care Foundation recently handed some income-generating startup kits comprising of 2 gallons of palm oil, 3 bags of 25 kilograms of flour, 3 buckets of beans, a carton of fish, among others, to some of the women who had abandoned their only sources of livelihood due to frequent confrontations between the military and the pro-independence fighters. This mother of 3, displaced from Akosia in Bafut subdivision, is among the beneficiaries.
Thank you.
Prior to the distribution of the kits, some of the displaced persons received food and toiletries. The non-governmental organization's president, Vivian Kifa, says she is motivated by the hardship as a result of the crisis.
You can see people down, their houses are being burned, they are being displaced. Some of them came out with nothing from their homes. So when you look into all those things, you will see that, you know, they really need help.
Although the crisis in the 2 English-speaking regions has been of concern to many national and international organizations, the women have continued to wonder why their cries are not being heard by the parties involved.
At first, we were moving freely. You see, just like today, over the social media, you see the Minister of Sport putting on gun proof. Was it like that before? Why is it that they are escaping? They are pretending they don't know there is a problem. Why there is a problem? We are begging on the government to do something, let life come back to normalcy.
Inhabitants of the northwest and southwest regions are longing for the day when the sounds of gunshots, looting and burning of their properties, kidnappings for ransom, curfews, ghost towns and lockdowns will be a thing of the past.
Yefesi. Stella reporting from the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda, and she equally caught up with His Lordship Michael Bibi, Auxiliary Bishop of Bamenda Diocese of the Roman Catholic Church. He has been in contact, or he has been meeting with some of the IDPs, and this is what he told Stella in Bamenda. His Lordship Michael Bibi, Auxiliary Bishop of Bamenda, spoke to Stella concerning the difficult situation of the internally displaced persons, hundreds of thousands of them in the two Anglophone regions of the country. He equally shares his disturbing experience with some of the IDPs in this extract prepared by Stella in Bamenda.
Most of those I have spoken to them who are refugees or internally displaced persons, most of their worries and concern is they want this crisis to come to an end. They want to go back to their localities. They want to be back in their compounds and carry out their normal activities. I know some of them are also worried, especially those who have had their properties destroyed. Some of their houses have been burned down. Some of them are actually homeless, and they're actually finding it difficult that even if the crisis were to come back, to go and start everything all over again is not going to be an easy thing to do. Most of them, their worry, yes, is to get food that will sustain them now, to get accommodation and all the rest. But a good number of them are looking forward that the crisis should come to an end, so that they should go back to their various villages and begin all over again. But as I mentioned, some of them are worried because they have their properties destroyed, and that would mean that it will take them a lot to be able to re-establish and try to make things move on. Of course, many of them are worried because they have not been able to do their farming as they should have done. And that is why we say it is important and necessary that things come to an end, that a solution be sought to this problem, so that life may get back to normalcy, and we may be able to live in peace and relate well with one another. I know that as far as this crisis is concerned, none of us expected that when this crisis started in 2016 that we will still be having the crisis to date. But the crisis is still continuing. The Cameroon government has taken some measures in order to resolve the crisis, but unfortunately all the measures that have been taken have not concretely brought the crisis to an end. We still continue to pray that God will enlighten our leaders, to enlighten all those who are involved as far as this crisis is concerned, so that we can be able to put our heads together and see what can be done in order for this crisis to be resolved, so that life should be able to return back to normalcy in the north and the southwest region. I think as far as the church is concerned, we must always be hopeful. God is with us. God never abandons his people, and God journeys with his people. We should never give up hope. We continue to pray and hope that this problem will come to an end, so that things may get back to normal in both regions.
His Lordship Michael Bibi, Auxiliary Bishop of Bamenda in the northwest region of the country, speaking there. And while thousands of school-going children have not been able to go to school for the past 2 years in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, some of them in government bilingual high school, Ezeka in the Nyong and Kele Division Center region of the country, may not be able to write the General Certificate of Education GCE examinations. Their parents paid their GCE registration fees through Orange Express Union and Campus mobile money agencies, but they have been compelled to pay the registration fees through MTN mobile money, and the deadline 1st of March 2019 has elapsed. EQUINOXE has more.
Tension and panic waves blanket government's bilingual high school Eseka as most of the Anglophone students in examination classes risk not writing the GCE ordinary and advanced levels this academic year, as deadline to deposit their files according to the GCE board is this March the 1st.
Donc les parents qui ont payé depuis le mois d'août, on commence à payer jusqu'au mois de décembre.
Parents from the month of August till December last year paid school fees and GCE registration in the coffers of Compost, Orange and Express Union mobile money upon the instruction of the Ministry of Secondary Education.
Sont en difficulté maintenant.
Ce sont les derniers, les retardataires qui ont payé à MTN, mais nous qui avons payé avant, nous sommes dans les problèmes.
Months after, the GCE board announced that Anglophone candidates have to pay via MTN mobile money only, while Francophone candidates use Compost, Orange and Express Union mobile money.
Madame le ministre a demandé de payer partout. Je ne sais pas comment ça se passe maintenant qu'on demande de payer uniquement à MTN.
Commotion caused as the GCE board added that students whose files are not deposited before the Friday March the 1st deadline will be excluded from the examination session.
Le VP m'a dit qu'il fallait repayer. Je lui ai dit que je ne pouvais pas repayer, qu'il faut trouver une solution pour que l'argent revienne.
Parents have vowed not to pay the registration twice as the other operators have refused to refund the money.
Ils nous fait comprendre, ils ont versé de l'argent à la direction générale. On appelle la direction générale, le numéro ne passe pas.
The school administration has assured the victims their children will write the GCE as they have consulted hierarchies to handle the situation.
Nous comptons beaucoup sur la hiérarchie.
Confused and disturbed parents have been urged to maintain calm, though the deadline to submit documents has elapsed.
C'est nous qui maîtrisons la situation, nous allons résoudre le problème.
Getting examination results, paying school fees, and examination registration have been more of a fool's errand and problematic ever since the designation of these mobile telephone and mobile money operators to do the job.
And the national president of the National Union for Democracy and Progress, NUDP, political party, Bello Buba Maigari, said his party will take part in the upcoming legislative, municipal and perhaps regional elections expected this year as a separate political party and not in alliance with the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM. Bello Buba Maigari, speaking today in the nation's political capital, said his party is going to fight hard to increase, why not by 10, the number of parliamentary seats of that party. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
As if announcing an end to the long-time alliance with the CPDM party, the National Union for Democracy and Progress, NUDP, says it will independently participate in different elections organized in Cameroon in 2019.
Avec ses propres listes et ses propres candidats.
In an emphatic and more determined voice, the national president, Bello Buba Maigari, says the NUDP will present its own independent candidate in order to be able to come out with a brilliant victory in all elections organized in Cameroon in 2019.
Toujours plus nombreuses, plus éclatantes.
The NUDP, as the matter of precision, is targeting the municipal, the legislative and possibly regional elections in Cameroon. The national president reaffirmed that the party plans to multiply its number of mayors, parliamentarians and consequently control the affairs of several regions across the country. The NUDP, that failed to independently participate in the October 7, 2018 presidential election, wants to multiply its supporters in order to stand tall away from the CPDM party in 2019.
Nous puissions contrôler, diriger, participer à la gestion des régions.
The party is then calling on potential voters, essentially young people, to massively register on the electoral register. The NUDP supporters that met recently in Yaoundé to present New Year wishes to their national president further projects the reorganization of their basic organs in favor of the youth as a winning strategy in 2019.
After the appointment of Celestine Kecha-Kutes as Minister of Urban Development and Housing, the municipality of Bangantin in the Division West region of the Republic of Cameroon has a new mayor. Dr. Jonas Kwamo replaces Celestine Kecha-Kutes. He was unanimously elected by the 41 municipal councillors of the municipality during an extraordinary council session, and the session lasted 2 hours. That's it for this edition of the news. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye. Nadine.
Yes, Babila Jonathan. Fin de ce journal, mesdames et messieurs. Merci pour votre aimable attention et passez d'agréables moments en compagnie de nos programmes.